Wildlife trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar trade and is decimating populations of endangered species across the globe. Often, the animals and their products are difficult to identify, creating a tough job for law enforcement. The poaching and smuggling of protected species happens everywhere. It happens deep in the forest, at roadside checkpoints near protected areas, and at international transit points such as airports. WildScan, a new species identification and response application developed by Freeland, can assist law enforcement wherever they work. Forest rangers on the front line of the war on poaching often operate in extremely remote areas for days at a time, so a comprehensive mobile ID guide and reporting tool helps to make their jobs easier. When patrolling rangers take down poacher camps in remote areas, WildScan provides an effective tool to document the incident. Once the ranger has identified the poached animal or product, a detailed crime scene report can be written and stored in the phone, which will automatically be submitted when the device reaches an internet connection. The ranger can easily search or browse a species library of more than 280 animals and their products. The officer can then take photos and attach them to the report, which is geotagged using the phone's GPS capability. Additional information about the crime scene or poached species can then be added at the ranger's discretion. Roadside vehicle checkpoints are another place where WildScan can be used to identify wildlife being smuggled. When the products confiscated at these checkpoints are well known, the officer can simply search for the product in the species library. Again, photos can be taken for the report, and an extensive information page allows for specific details to be added, such as the vehicle description and the origin and destination of the vehicle. The WildScan administration website can then collate that information and produce reports according to time frame, location, and species, making it an invaluable tool to identifying wildlife crime hotspots. Airports are also a regular transit point for endangered species trafficking. WildScan's unique identification tool helps customs officers to identify these species by asking simple questions about a given animal's physical characteristics. WildScan assists users by first determining whether the object is an animal or a product. For animals, the body covering, mane color, and size are then requested. Finally, any special features such as a tail or shell can be entered. The species library in WildScan can also be browsed, searched, and filtered according to animal type, for example mammals or birds. The multiple ways to find a given species in WildScan makes it a versatile and quick identification tool. Once the animal or product is identified, the officer can create a report and send it to relevant authorities either by selecting one of the many ASEAN wildlife enforcement contacts within the application or by simply entering any email of the officer's choice. WildScan was developed with ASEAN-WEN to support law enforcement in the ASEAN region. ASEAN-WEN will handle the reports from WildScan, which can be sent directly to the relevant law enforcement agencies throughout the region and beyond where necessary. The WildScan administration site also allows for quick updates to any of the species or contacts to ensure that the information within WildScan is current. The ability of law enforcement to identify endangered species and respond to wildlife trafficking is essential to preserving the world's biodiversity. Download WildScan today and increase your capacity to combat wildlife crime. WildScan was developed for ASEAN-WEN by Freeland with support from the United States Agency for International Development.